Kennedy Jr., right? RFK Jr. Is a total conspiracy nut job. He's been
All
shopping.
right, I just gotta say, can we just stop and be a little petty for a second and say, don't you just love this face you're paused on
Oh,
here?
here, let me clip over to it so everybody can see. Yeah, that's his face. We'll get to.
Yeah, so sorry, this is what I've been staring at here. Look,
Yeah,
Kennedy looking like he's smelling shit, and I just gotta say that's pretty funny.
yeah, we'll get into that clip in a second. He's a total idiot.
Mm-mm.
He's a total idiot. Part of what he's been doing okay for a third party candidate, better than most. And he takes pretty evenly from Trump and Biden because he's kind of a nut job, and they really pushed him on Fox News. And I think a lot of Democrats think, oh, he's a Kennedy, he's probably pretty leftist, and he's not. He's pretty right wing, and he's kind of a nut job, libertarian kind of guy. Anyway, he's been shopping around for VP picks. Part of what his success has been is that most people don't know much about him, which is typically the success of most third party candidates. Because people are like, well, I don't like either the Democrat or the Republican, so I'll vote third party, not realizing the third party guy's worse because you don't know anything about him. Because you haven't heard anything about him, right? So we're gonna rectify that a little bit more today. But he's been shopping around for VP candidates, and that's been going on. But here's his pitch for the economy. This is a little bit older, but this is kind of what he's been going with, and it starts with that face Lacey loves, and this is totally stupid and insane. Oops.
The system is going to collapse. It's not sustainable. The economy is now no longer based upon industrial production or any kind of production. It's based upon speculation. So if you look at what's happening on Wall Street, they're no longer going factory by factory and saying what's the production, what's the efficiency, what's the lowest cost, what's the future. They're all focusing on what is the Fed going to do this week.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what everybody bets on. And it's financialized our economy. It's sent all of their industry abroad.
Yeah.
It's destroyed the American middle class, and we do that by printing dollars. You print $34 trillion that you don't have. Why would the world even value them anymore? And the reason that they continue to value them is because we have 800 bases.
Oh, man. So freshman economics 101 rears its ugly fucking head there. Talking about having no understanding about how things work in the world. So just to make this easy on you, we were an industrial society for a long time. We still kind of are, but we're moving more towards service industry and technology because that's where our bread and butter is. That's where a lot of our money comes from. But he doesn't understand the nature of the economy or even what money is, right? And I'm just going to give you some basic facts to show you that it's bullshit. I just did a little quick PowerPoint to help everybody out, to make it easy. So, U.S. economy facts. We are the largest producer of petroleum and natural gas. And that's started under Obama. It didn't do as well under Trump, but now it's done really well under Biden. So we produce more petroleum than any other country in the world. We produce more gasoline than Saudi Arabia, Russia, any other individual country. Okay? We're the largest trading country. More people trade with us than anybody else, right? We're the second largest manufacturer. So this bullshit about industry jobs, we don't have industry jobs anymore, nobody's factoring that in. That's crap. 20% of the global total. And we only have 2.3% of the population. But we manufacture 20% of the goods worldwide, right? We're the largest importer of goods. We're the second largest exporter of goods. All right? We top internationally in venture capital and research and development funding. We're the largest consumer market on the planet. So everybody comes here because we have all the customers, right? We're the top performing economy in Ease of Doing Business Index and the Global Competitiveness Report. Oh, it gets better. We're top internationally, venture capital R&D, I said that. I got those. Oh, sorry, I got all those. Anyway, just to simplify that, the economy is doing really, really well. And what he doesn't understand about how this works and why, when we're looking at Wall Street and investors and people like Lacey and me, when we're looking at stuff, and sometimes we look at what the Fed is doing, and a lot of that's, especially with your investments, if you're doing a lot of day trading and stuff, The reason is because of this thing called inflation. Right? It's not that complicated. The value of money goes down over time, never hitting rock bottom. It's a little bit like Atlantic City. It's always in decline, never hitting the ground, right? But what happens is so the price of goods then goes up per the dollar, and it should. But you don't want it to go up too much or too little, so you're trying to keep that balance. So that's what keeps the middle class in place, essentially, is you want to make sure that their wages can keep up with inflation and can beat inflation, and that they're doing well enough that they're moving forward and they can match that. So what inflation does affects the consumer market, which is the middle, lower middle class, upper middle class. It's the whole market of the United States, which is what he doesn't get. And so this whole we're heading for a decline shit, why would you value the dollar? Well, you have to value the dollar because of one simple fact. Taxes. It's the only thing you can pay your taxes with. It's the only thing the government will accept. So every American has to have dollars to pay their taxes. You can't pay it in yen or ruples or euros or anything else. You got to pay it in dollars. So that's what gives it its value. We have to have them. So because we have to have American dollars, we got to make American dollars. So that's what we trade and spend in is American dollars. And since we are the largest consumer market, everybody who sells to us has to be able to exchange for American dollars because that's what we're trading with. Which is why every country on the planet is gauged against the American dollar, and the value of their currency is gauged against the stability and value of the US dollar, which is our ultimate power as a country next to the size of our military. Is we control the value of everything, and we have the means to blow anybody up that we want to. And now we have the third tip of the spear, right? The trident. We have petroleum. We're no longer beholden to OPEC like we were back in the 20th century. So now we're literally an empire that you can't dick with. Right? That's why nobody talks about going to war with America. You know, you don't hear a lot of like terrorist shit about let's attack America anymore. Doesn't happen. It's too much power.
You know, the crazy thing, though, is Kennedy can kind of spout off whatever nonsense he wants when it comes to the economy and economics, because really most people don't have much of an education on basic economics. So he can kind of get away with spouting nonsense, and people are just listening for anything that kind of sounds logical. You know, not to be insulting, but most of us don't have a lot of education unless we've, you know, taken courses at a college level. Your average high school education doesn't give you a whole lot for basic economics, if anything.
No, and like I said, I made the joke about freshman economics because that's what it's like. It's like you take economics 101 as a freshman in college, and yeah, that's what everybody. Oh yeah, there's going to be a recession, or we're falling as a country, and all this shit. And then you get to like your junior or senior year, and you've taken some more economics or finance or something. You start to realize, no, actually, we're pretty stable as a country. Things are actually pretty good. I mean, we've had horrible recessions for the last 24 years. 20 years, right? Not 24, but the beginning of the 21st century. They were not nearly as bad as weaker recessions were in the past because we've had the ability to bounce back because we have the Federal Reserve, which he bitches about. They have the ability to borrow and spend money. So like right now, and I'll do a video more in detail on this later, but right now the thing about watching the Fed is, and they're doing meetings all this week to talk about whether or not they're going to lower rates, but that affects the amount of cash in the system. You've heard of it as quantitative easing or quantitative tightening, which is the opposite of quantitative easing. And what that does is that's their way of trying to regulate inflation. But that's why it's important, because the government is stepping in. Well, not really the government, because the Fed is independent, but they work for the government, right? But they're stepping in to say, okay, we're trying to keep the economy warm, but not too hot and not too cold. Right, we're looking for that Goldilocks scenario. And so we want to manipulate the amount of cash in there because we want to keep inflation to this point. We want to keep unemployment to this point. And if we can manage these two things, the economy should be pretty good. And that's the nutshell, kind of that's why everybody's paying attention, because that's the amount of money that's going to come out, right? The amount that could be loaned in dollars, which he thinks aren't valuable, but they are. Because if I can loan more money, I can hire more people, I can buy more products, I can do more shit. It doesn't understand. It's not that we're not industrial anymore, we're just speculating. If you're industrial, you're speculating. If Lacey and I start a company, let's say we just want to open a new factory, we're speculating that we're going to make money on that. It's not this tangible thing he thinks it is. So it's all kind of, you know. But that guy running for president, and we're talking about a guy who, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he was like, we should go back to the gold standard. You mean back when everything sucked? I mean...
Well, it's sort of